Hi, and welcome to the free training called the Lead Capture Form, Creating a Contact Form That WOWS. I am so excited that you were entrusting me with your time in learning a little bit about Dubsado and a little bit about how to not get ghosted and how to actually have a plan for automating the first part of your client experience and just like what puzzle pieces to set up. So I know I just shared a mouthful with you, but I'm so excited you're here. And if you're here from the Dubsado Toolkit for Family Photographers, this is your bonus training. So either way, I'm so excited you're here. Okay, so we will be covering the following. So I'll be answering what a lead capture form is. So if you're brand new to Dubsado, I'll answer that very basic question. I'll answer all the elements needed in order to create a lead capture form that WOWS. I will share you my behind the scenes process in Dubsado. I'll show you how to test it out so you can see firsthand how that automation works. And then, of course, if you have any follow-ups, I have some resources to share with you. So let's talk about what is a lead capture form. So a lead capture form lets you capture contact information in Dubsado so that you can share your specific services like family photography with the person who filled out the form. So I call it the contact form, and essentially, so a lead capture form is a contact form, and essentially a lead is contacting you to learn more about information about your services. And so whenever a lead fills out your contact form in Dubsado, they become a lead in Dubsado. Move my face a little bit here. So I preach about this all the time to my students and also to my VIP Dubsado clients. You have to know your client's journey because this will impact all the different types of forms you will create in Dubsado, even the start, which is your lead capture form or your contact form. So if you just go into Dubsado and you just decide, I'm just going to start building it out as my workflow goes, it's not going to be successful for you. You should know a rough draft, a sketch, an outline of how you want your client, your customer journey to look like for each of your services. And so that's what I encourage all of my students within the Dubsado Toolkit for Family Photographers to do. And I encourage my one-on-one clients who I help set up their Dubsado accounts. I encourage everyone to know what their client journeys look like. So why this training? So for this training, I will be sharing a behind the scenes look at how I create my lead capture forms in Dubsado and then how I set them up to be truly automated. I'm sharing this real behind the scenes look so that you can see how easy it is to set up and to show you the importance of staying on top of mind to your viewers. So I'm using my maternity family photography workflow example. I should really call it the maternity photography workflow example, but I just really want to show you that it is important to stay top of mind to your clients without having to live by your computer or having to live by your phone to answer all your emails. You can set that first phase up in automation. And you can live your life, all right? And then another thing is, most likely, if a client is reaching out to you, they're most likely reaching out to several other service-based business owners, like depending upon what service you are. So let's say, for example, you're a photographer, so they're most likely reaching out to several other photographers too. So it's important to stay top of mind so that you can continue to bring in those clients and fill up your calendar, because that's the goal of your business, right? And then also just, I'm showing you a way of how not to be ghosted. So just in automation, you can also make sure that you're not being ghosted, that you're putting the ball back in that client's ball court, that you're putting the ball back in that client's court. All right. And then you're letting them know, hey, like, I'm here to help serve you. And most likely you will not get ghosted. So these are These are some things that I've been utilizing in my business in my family photography business for the past several years now, and it's helped me out tremendously. So I want to peel back the curtain even more. So let's think about all the puzzle pieces and the elements that I will use to put all of this together. So I'm going to share with you all of these elements, and then we'll go into Dubsado and put these together, okay? So first of all, I'm going to be sharing with you a roadmap of the beginning point in my client's journey. So earlier, I had shared that I'm going to be sharing my maternity photography workflow. So I'll be sharing that first portion of like when they first fill out my contact form to like those first several emails they're going to be receiving from me. Of course, I'm going to need some canned emails. This is an element, canned emails, which go with that roadmap because this applies to the client blueprint, to the client journey. A fun thing to have on hand when I'm creating these different puzzle pieces are my hex colors, my brand fonts set aside just in case I want to personalize any of the canned emails, or I want to add extra, I don't know, like just extra pizzazz to any videos I might send to the clients. This really helps set you apart as a business owner and helps your client to remember that they reached out to you, so it keeps you top of mind. More elements that I'm going to bring in together before I start putting all this together. I highly recommend having some sort of video talking and thanking the client for filling out your lead capture form. You can make this very generalized. You don't have to say their name, but make it very generalized and very professional. Thank you for filling out my maternity photography contact form. I'm probably saying this wrong, but something of that nature. Just thanking them for contacting you, what to expect next, so that they can hear you and see you. And so I have a link to a video I've created. URL redirect page. I am a firm believer in making sure that once a person submits my lead capture form, my contact form, they just don't get a generic thank you for submitting this contact form. They are redirected to another web page on my website, and it lets them know what to expect next, and it gets them excited about working for me. I set aside any graphics I want to put on the form, like the lead capture form, like if I want to put on an image of myself or of maternity photography or just a collage of images. I know some people like to do that. And then, of course, questions laid out, what I want to ask in the lead capture form. I'm not just going to blindly create it. I'm going to have a plan. Now that's why I'm going to put all of these elements together. And then more elements, I'm going to write out, before I actually map out the workflow, I'm going to map out all the entry points that I want to put this lead capture form on. So think of an entry point as, where is your client finding you? Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, what social media channel, or LinkedIn, or SEO, or a blog. Write them out, because I know most likely your clients are telling you, hey, I found you on Instagram, or I found you through doing a basic Google search. So write out those entry points and make sure all of those entry points have link back to that one lead capture form, so it funnels into one workflow, okay? And then put it all together, and then let's test it out. So I just wanted to explain all of the elements so you knew the why behind why I'm choosing these elements. So let's go behind the scenes. Before I go behind the scenes in my Dubsado account, I'm going to first show you my Google Doc and show you that first client journey, and then we will go into Dubsado. So I will see you really soon. Okay, so if you are already a student or a one-on-one client of mine, you're very familiar with how I set up workflows into different phases. So as a student, you are very familiar with the workflow example that I'm sharing with you, but if you are just taking this free training, let me explain this just very fast to you. So I like to literally map out from start to finish one workflow and all the steps that go into creating that one client journey. I'm not going to go into depth about it. We're just going to talk about the first phase, which is when the client meets me, depending upon what project source they're coming in from, what happens when they fill out my lead capture form, okay? So once they fill out my lead capture form, which is that contact form, what I'm going to ask myself, okay, what questions do I need to put on that lead capture form? So I put not my first name, but I need to collect their first name, their last name, and their email address, because in Dubsado, those 3 elements will create a new project within Dubsado. If you don't have these 3 elements listed on a contact form, it's not going to create a project for you. So I have those 3 questions, and then I always have this please retype your email, because I have a lot of parents who are filling out the contact form really fast. They may misspell their email address. They might be in a hurry. I work with a lot of moms. Like, I'm a mom myself, so I know I'm constantly on the go. So I have them retype their email address just to have it, just in case. I ask them what service they're interested in, because I offer both family photography and branding photography and Dubsado services. So I have for 3 different services for 3 different types of clients. So they self-select what they're interested in, and that projects them into a specific workflow. I asked them how they found me. So this goes back to the project source, because that I want to know, like, how did you find me? And then I have one more question, any other comments, like, do they have any other questions about the photography service? So I literally wrote down, so when a person hits submit to my contact form, what are the immediate steps I want to happen? So I want, once they submit the form, they're taken to a thank you redirect page. And I made sure to pop it in here for myself, so that as I'm building out my contact page, that WOWS, that whole sequence of events in Dubsado, I can just copy and paste it here, okay? Or copy it and paste it in Dubsado. So I have my URL redirect page already created. And I put why this, because I want to confirm that they are in the right place, and I want to remind them to check their spam folder just to get email number 1 for me in Dubsado. Also, on my thank you page, will have a way for them to connect with me even more and get on my email list, because keep in mind, Dubsado, it is not an email service platform. It is a customer relationship management tool. So just because they filled out your contact form, that doesn't mean they're on your email list, all right? So I want to give them another reason to sign up for a lead magnet and potentially get them in a nurture sequence while that's separate from Dubsado. Okay, so that's my reasoning. So these are some questions I asked myself. What do I want to do in this step? So like right after they're redirected to a thank you page, what do I want this to happen? I want them, like, as soon as they hit submit up here, they're taken to a URL redirect page, a thank you page, and then they automatically get email number 1 from me in Dubsado. And this is set up in a workflow, and it's automated, and it's a canned email confirming that, like, hey, I've received this email from you. I include a video message from me, and normally I create a video message and I attach it as either a unlisted YouTube video or a Vimeo video, but I've been using Loom a lot lately, and so I created a Loom video, and then I have my maternity photography packages as a link, and so I have that link here, so I can just copy and paste it into the workflow. And then in that first email, I list out their next steps to working with me. So now that they've hit submit, now what can they expect? I'm sharing a lot of the same things that I shared on the URL redirect page, but people don't pay attention to details. This is human nature. So I'm repeating myself in the redirect thank you page, in that first email and even in that video. So somewhere along the line, somebody will pay attention and glean some information. So this email will be automated. The next 3 emails, so these are the next 3 emails are my secret sauce to how I am not ghosted. Like either I will get some sort of confirmation if they want to work with me or don't want to work with me. But either way, I'm getting an answer back. And so the next 3 emails will not be automated. They will be approval steps for me in order for my clients to either, again, not ghost me or for me to stay top of mind. Having a follow-through plan is essential, and it shows great customer service. So questions to ask yourself in this phase of the client journey: how many follow-ups are you wanting to do after that first inquiry? Like 3 follow-up emails may sound a little bit intimidating to you or overwhelming. You might just want to have 1 follow-up email. But I have found the sweet spot for me has been 3. So I've created 3 different canned emails, and they're sent out on different phases. So this one, I wait 2 days after that first automated email goes out, and then I approve this step. I wait 5 days after the workflow has started, and then I send out workflow email number 3, and then the final email if they haven't responded back. So I have 3 follow-up emails, and normally between these 3, I hear back from the client if they're interested in moving forward. Then I go put them in the booking phase, or if they're not, they've like researched another photographer, they're going to work with them, or the timing is just not right, then I delete their project because I'm like, okay, now I know that they're not wanting to move forward. And that way I know like I'm doing my part to communicate and to follow through and not depend on my feelings like, oh, I guess like they don't like me because XYZ. They've told me I can't work with you or I want to work with you. I am doing my part. So having a follow-through plan, again, is important, and it shows great customer service. 1 minute. Okay, so now we are in my Dubsado. So I have all of those elements pieced together. And now here is my main lead capture form. It's under forms. And I have a lot of lead capture forms, but I have a main one. So I'm going to open this one up. And I'm just going to show you what questions I've created for my clients, for my family photography and branding photography. So this is like blending both together. But I had shared earlier that I'm showing my maternity workflow. So the very first thing, I'm used to include images up here, but because I embed it on my website, it was too clunky for me. So this is what it looks like on my website. So if I had included images here, it would just been too busy for me. So it's entirely up to you if you want to include images or not. But I chose not to, because I know that there are already visual images on my contact form. But I did include this little, I guess like PSA. Be sure to check the spam or promotions folder in your inbox if you do not get an immediate response, because I know that I've had clients in the past that they've been redirected to my thank you page, or they didn't, like, for some reason their internet wasn't working, so they never got the video, that first video from me explaining here are your next steps. So I want to remind them, hey, like, make sure you check your spam or promotions folder. All right. I highly recommend you doing that. Okay, so the first question is, what is your first name? And so if I click on this little button, it will show that it's required, and it's a field mapping, that smart field, to the client's first name. So whenever a smart field is really cool because so the smart field here is attached to their first name. So when they fill this form out, Dubsado will create a new project from this lead, and it will automate their first name in their project, which is really, really cool. I did the same thing for the last name, their email address. So I am requiring all of these questions, and then I'm mapping them to the appropriate smart field. All right. And then retype your email address, what service you're interested in. So this is not a short answer. This is a workflow related question. And as you can see on the back end of Dubsado, what service are your, well, I just misspelled that. That's really embarrassing. I don't know how long that's been. Okay. What service are you interested in? Okay, that's way better. That's so embarrassing. That has been live. I don't know how long. It's a good thing I'm doing this training. Okay, so depending upon what service they self-select, do you notice that every service has some sort of workflow attached to it? So if they are interested in branding photos, then they get the branding session workflow. Family photos, family. Maternity session, this example is about maternity workflow, and so on and so forth. So I do family photography, branding photography, and then Dubsado services. So I made sure to map out all of those services and make them into workflows. On the front end, it took a lot of time, but now on the back end, I am saving so much time. All of this is set on autopilot, so the initial inquiry, they get all these automated responses, they get that information on the front end, and that client experience is more positive. So that is how I mapped it out on the back end. And then I asked them, how did they find Dolly DeLong photography? And this is, it's not required, but I do like to find out where they're coming in from. And so this is called a project source within Dubsado. And this gives me more informed decision making for the future. So if I have a lot of people coming in from, let's say, I don't know, LinkedIn, then maybe I can make a marketing budget and do some more ad spend for LinkedIn in the future. This is just an example. A lot of my clients come in from Google. So that means that's showing me that my SEO game has been really strong with my pillar content, because I have been producing a lot of blogs about family photography and branding photography. And so I've had, in the past year alone, I've had 80 to 90% of my clients are finding me on Google because of my blog. So that's just something that it just like is a domino effect. All right. I'm nerding out right now. Okay. The next one, any other comments? I just want to know, like, hey, like, do you have anything else to say to me? So really, there's no magical formula for how many questions to ask, but I would say keep your lead capture form content, your questions really short, because this is not a questionnaire. If you have an in-depth questionnaire that you need to know when they book you, then send it in that phase of the client journey. Don't ask them a million questions at the beginning, because there may be a drop-off. So ask them the essential questions of what you will need to know and what they will need to know. And then if you need to send them additional questions, or like send them additional information when they hit submit, this is where the magic of the form settings comes in. So I put, thank you for completing this form, we'll be in touch, and then I redirect them to a contact form thank you page. Notice how there's a default workflow option. So if I only had one service that I was offering on this lead capture form, I would apply it to the default workflow. However, I have several different options for a person to self-select. So that's why I can't just do a default workflow, because it wouldn't apply, that default workflow wouldn't apply to every service, all right? And then for the project title, I make sure to put the client name, new inquiry, and I'm going to just put new inquiry. And statuses are created on the settings side in Dubsado, like not your settings side, but in your Dubsado. I'm not going to go in there right now, but you can create different statuses for yourself. So since I don't know if they're a warm lead for photography or a warm lead for Dubsado or a warm lead for a podcast, because I have a podcast as well, I keep this blank. But if your services are specific, like if you only offer, let's say, only family photography, maybe make that project status a warm lead for photography. Or if you only offer, let's say, calligraphy services, then project status warm lead. All right. So think about like what you want to name your clients when they first enter in your world in the lead capture form. That would be called a project. Like, what would their status be? Okay, so even think about the statuses of what you would want to call them as they move through their client experience. And then form styling. This is extra for you to know. If you want to change the font to match more of your fonts, like within your font family of your brand, Dubsado offers several different types of fonts. It's not like an extensive list, but it is a good list to start off with. And so find one that would match your font family for branding if that's important to you. The font size, you can change the color of the font. The submit button, I changed the title to Let's Get Started. But I just want you to see on the back end what this all looks like. All right, so let's say, okay, so I've already built this out, but let's say you're building it out from scratch, or you know how to do or let's say I want to add more to this. So I would go, I don't know if I'll be able to click on this because of I'm going to click on the elements. And let's say I want to add a new question that's like a free response. So I would just drag and drop it wherever. And I don't think it worked. Okay, of course it's not working. There we go. And then I would just change the title here. All right, but I don't need this. But let's say like you've created a lead capture form. You're like, I really like it. Hello from Dolly, DeLong Photography, main lead capture form. I like the name. This just helps me remember what lead capture form this is for, since I have several lead capture forms. So I'm just gonna hit, save form. So it's saved. All right. Now I am going to show you like how to share it. So if you share here, you can embed this code on your website, or if you don't have a website but you want to share the link with your followers or on those different project sources, you would just click here to copy, and here I'll open it up in a new window so you can see what it looks like. So this is a good option if you don't have a website or your website is under construction or in transition, then you can just share this link and you can share it on your Instagram, like all your social media platforms and your different platforms. So it'll come up soon. Okay, so here it is. So this is what it would look like. And so I'm just gonna fill it out so you can see what it would look like for the automation side. So since we're doing maternity photography, let's just stick to that, maternity photos, and I should be getting that maternity workflow automatically sent to me. How did you find Dolly DeLong Photography? Let's do Instagram. No, so excited to work with you. Okay, so I'm gonna hit let's get started so that you can see what happens. So the URL redirect page worked, which I'm so excited. I always get really excited, like, oh yay, technology. So this is the first automation that happens, and on the back end of Dubsado, I remember I had to attach this URL, and basically I'm saying thank you for filling out my contact form, scroll down. follow me on Instagram, okay, to keep in touch. And I'm hoping they'll continue to stay and read more about my blog and, learn more about my photography services and get excited about working with me. So I'm going to pause this and I'll meet you in my inbox so we can see on the flip end what the client is going to see, like in the automated version. Okay, so we are in the client's inbox, my inbox, and you'll see like Dubsado sent me an email letting me know I got a new lead. Okay, let's click on the new lead and let's see who it is. So I'm going to check it out. Okay, it's letting me know what the new lead is interested in. So I could, as the owner, I can hit view lead, but we're going to view it as like I am the client opening up my email, and I should have gotten a hello from Dolly, DeLong Photography. Let's chat about your maternity session. So this instantly comes, and I'm labeled as sample because I'm a sample client. So look at this. So I got that first email from me with a Loom video. If I click on it, it takes me to a Loom video. This takes me to my complete family photography pricing guide that is the same as my maternity packages. And I included a special note for moms, be certain to book your maternity session. So this is very specific to maternity packages. So it's pretty long, but I also give them an opportunity to schedule an appointment if they know they want to schedule an appointment with me. So I've mapped out the client journey ahead of the time so that I know what puzzle pieces to put together in this first canned email. And the puzzle pieces were like this Loom video, my family photography price guide, and the scheduler. And then I have, if we're going back to like me as the owner, then I have a reminder from Dubsado to send a quick 30-second video of me talking to the client right away. But even if I am not able to, they're still getting that first automated email from me, which is so cool. So really quick, I wanted to share with you again, like anytime you make changes to your Dubsado form, like remember how I had a typo? It was changed automatically on the website site. So I didn't have to like again embed the form or relink the form. Dubsado like automatically makes those changes, which is so cool. It's another reason why I love Dubsado so much. So let's go back. I'm gonna go into Dubsado and just show you like again where I created the workflow. So workflows are under templates and it's called workflows. And this workflow specifically, because remember, I allowed the person to self-select whatever and then they went into whatever workflow they self-selected. And this is the maternity workflow that I selected. So let's do maternity session workflow part 1, inquiry. And so this is what happens. Like this is my first phase. My first phase, I add a tag to maternity, as in maternity photography session. So they're being tagged immediately after workflow started. I changed the project status. Like remember, I want them to have a new status when they fill out my contact form. I send appointment scheduler, like that whole canned email with my video of myself, and that canned email explaining their next steps is an appointment scheduler, because like that is I can't send a canned email. I don't want to send a canned email and then an appointment scheduler and then a form. Like, so to make it into one step, I sent an appointment scheduler and then I created a to-do task for me. And then the next 3 steps are approval. Remember those 3 canned emails of the follow-up sequence. So I made sure it's 2 days after this, 4 days after this, and then 7 days after that. So it all works on top of each other. And let's say they do respond back. So these will not be sent out, and I can just remove the steps in their project. So again, it's an easy one to, like for me, it's easy several steps of putting it together. And it took me a few minutes to put this together because I knew all the elements I needed to put together and create beforehand. And so creating the actual workflow took minutes. And then I attached it to my lead capture form, which is so cool. So let's go back to the presentation. So we've already tested it out. And so your resources are, now that you have gone through this training on how to create a contact form that wows, and remember the wow factor is that automation piece. It's the automation piece of getting that URL redirect page, of thanking them through a video form that you automate within that first email that's sent out. The wow factor is you having a follow-up sequence that are canned emails that you can personalize for every single client that reaches out to you, but you have those canned emails on hand. The wow factor is you branding the experience with your fonts and your branding elements. So all together, it's keeping you top of mind and it's wowing your clients. All right. So again, don't forget to refer back to the notes provided in this training. So whether or not you are a student of mine in the Dubsado Toolkit for Family Photographers, or you're a VIP client, or you're just here for the free training, you will have notes about this section specifically. Don't forget to use my affiliate code to get any contracts or privacy policies for your website, for your contracts, for your workflows from the legal page. And if you are brand new to Dubsado and you still haven't set up a full-on account and you're interested in using Dubsado, you can get 30% off for your first month or full year by using my code. And then don't forget to check out, if this is like getting you excited about learning more about Dubsado, then check out the Dubsado Toolkit for Family Photographers. I teach family photographers and creative business owners how to use Dubsado in their business. I am a certified Dubsado Pro. I've been using Dubsado since 2018. I love it. I use it for my photography business and my Dubsado business as well. And so I love it so much. And you can also find me at the Systems and Workflow Magic podcast, and I drop episodes weekly every Monday, and I talk about the magic of workflows and systems for your creative business. So I am so excited you decided to join me for this free training, and I really hope it just helped open your eyes to see the possibilities of automating the very first phase of your client's journey. So I will talk to you later. Bye.